What if one project could redefine a nation, not just by laying down tracks, but by rewriting its economic future and reconnecting its cultural soul? This isn't a hypothetical. In Jamaica, it's a massive, nation-building reality taking shape in steel and concrete. The island nation is pouring immense resources and political will into a railway rebirth of historic proportions. It's a high-stakes national gamble, a huge effort to build a futuristic transit ecosystem on the bones of a colonial relic. This project is designed to connect its people, transform its economy, and build a future the world will be watching. This is the story of a railway revival that is so much more than just a train. To understand where Jamaica is going, you first have to understand the arteries that once gave it life, and why they failed. Picture this. It's 1845. The steam locomotive is still a revolutionary piece of technology. Yet on this small Caribbean island, a new railway is being inaugurated. While not the first in the hemisphere, it was a remarkable achievement, making Jamaica the first British colony outside of North America to establish a railway. The Kingston to Spanish Town line wasn't just a novelty. It was a lifeline. For nearly 150 years, Jamaica's railway was the backbone of the nation. It moved sugar, bauxite, and bananas from the rural heartlands to bustling ports. It carried generations of Jamaicans, workers, students, families, weaving the separate parishes into a single, connected nation. This railway was a symbol of pride, a testament to Jamaica's pioneering spirit. Historic stations like the one built in Kingston in 1845 weren't just transit points. They were grand social hubs, monuments to an age of ambition. But then the progress stopped. The hum of the diesel engines faded. In October 1992, after years of financial decline and mounting operational costs, public passenger service was officially shut down. The trains, once symbols of connection, were parked. The tracks, once arteries of commerce, fell silent. Stations that once echoed with daily life were abandoned, left to crumble and be reclaimed by nature. For over 3 decades, the railway became a ghost. This silence created a vacuum, and that vacuum was filled with cars, buses, and trucks. Today, the legacy of that 1992 closure is felt most in the crippling traffic that chokes Jamaica's urban centers, particularly the Kingston metropolitan area. The commute from satellite towns like Portmore and Spanish Town into the capital has become a daily battle against gridlock. Countless hours of productivity are lost, fuel costs are immense, and the environmental toll from vehicles idling in traffic is staggering. The problem extends beyond the daily commute. For farmers, getting produce to markets or ports is an expensive nightmare. For citizens in remote towns, access to jobs, education, and healthcare is hampered by costly road transport. Brief attempts to revive small sections of the line came and went, including a short-lived passenger service in 2011 that shut down just a year later. The dream of the railway seemed destined to remain a nostalgic memory. But this isn't where the story ends. This is where it begins again. Faced with the transport crisis, Jamaica decided to look to its past to forge its future. This isn't just about restarting a few old trains. It's a complete reimagining of national infrastructure. The Jamaican government, along with private and international investors, is orchestrating a grand revival, backed by an investment projected to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. This isn't a single project, but a multi-phase national strategy led by the Jamaica Railway Corporation, JRC, the government body that has been the custodian of the nation's rail legacy. The vision is to create a modern, integrated transit ecosystem that will serve as the new spine of the country. The comeback story began quietly, but with purpose. In 2022, a pilot program was launched, reintroducing a commuter line for students between Old Harbor, Linstead, and Spanish Town in the parish of St. Catherine. This wasn't a grand opening, but a crucial test. It proved 2 things. The mechanics were feasible, and more importantly, the demand was overwhelming. The sight of trains once again safely carrying passengers was the spark that reignited the national imagination. Now, the project is moving into high gear. Phase 1 focuses on reviving the most vital commuter corridors, the line connecting Old Harbor to Linstead and the main artery running from Kingston to Spanish Town, with a crucial spur line planned for Portmore, Jamaica's largest commuter town. This move is a direct assault on the island's worst traffic congestion, promising to take thousands of cars off the road. Beyond that, the roadmap is clear. Future phases, financed through public-private partnerships, will push the railway westward, expanding service coverage. The full transformative vision includes expanding the network into lucrative tourism routes, dedicated agricultural freight corridors, and industrial zones. This revival is being built on strategic partnerships. The US-based Herzog International has been a key partner, bringing decades of construction and operational expertise. The government is also in talks with other entities, like the World Bank, to secure grant funding for feasibility studies and to explore various avenues for investment to bring the full vision to life. This isn't just about importing a solution. It's about building a self-sustaining Jamaican industry. Reviving a railway after 3 decades of neglect is a monumental undertaking. It's a massive engineering challenge that goes far beyond clearing overgrown tracks. We're talking about the complete rehabilitation of over 200 kilometers of rail lines. The process starts with the ground the tracks sit on. Decades of disuse have compromised the track bed, so engineers are assessing it section by section to ensure it's stable enough for modern, faster trains. Then there's the hardware. The original steel rails, some of which are remnants of a bygone era, must be inspected and often completely replaced. This involves tearing out the old tracks and installing new continuous welded rail, which provides a smoother, safer ride and requires less maintenance. Perhaps the most daunting challenge is the network's bridges and tunnels. The original railway was renowned for its engineering, navigating the island's rugged terrain. Each of these historic structures is a potential point of failure. Structural engineers are conducting exhaustive assessments on every bridge, testing for metal fatigue and erosion. Tunnels need to be surveyed for stability and cleared of debris. And this revival isn't about putting museum pieces back on the tracks. The Jamaica Railway Corporation is in the process of acquiring new, modern trains and refurbishing the most viable parts of its existing fleet. This includes upgrading the JRC's primary workshop in Kingston into a state-of-the-art maintenance facility. But the most futuristic part isn't the trains themselves. It's the ecosystem being built around them. The goal isn't just to have trains run on a schedule. It's to create a fully integrated transit system. A key part of the plan is a smart ticketing system, likely a reloadable card or mobile app that would allow for seamless transfers between trains, buses, and local taxis. Imagine tapping on at a train station in Spanish Town, riding the rails into Kingston, and then tapping onto a bus, all with a single payment. This is the model used in world-class cities, and it's the blueprint for Jamaica's future. The true impact of this railway rebirth won't be measured in kilometers of track. It will be measured in the profound transformation of Jamaican society and its economy. Let's start with the most immediate economic impact: freight. For decades, Jamaica's heavy industries, particularly bauxite, have relied on limited rail lines. The revival is set to supercharge this. A freight-first strategy is already in motion. The JRC has signed a 15-year partnership to transport heavy building materials like limestone and gravel. This move is projected to shift a massive amount of material off the roads annually. This freight model is ingenious. It creates a stable revenue stream that can be reinvested into expanding the passenger network, creating a financially resilient system. For the agricultural sector, the railway is a lifeline. A farmer in a rural parish will soon be able to load their produce onto a freight train and have it in Kingston's markets or at shipping ports in a fraction of the time and cost. This will boost rural economies and strengthen the nation's food security. Then there's the impact on tourism. The revival includes plans for dedicated, high-end tourist routes. One of the most anticipated is a line connecting the tourism hub of Montego Bay with the iconic Appleton Estate. Modeled after ventures like California's Napa Valley Wine Train, this service offers tourists a luxurious, scenic way to experience the island's interior. By connecting cruise ports to inland attractions, the railway will spread tourism revenue more widely across the country. And what about the human impact? For the hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans commuting into Kingston, the railway will be life-changing, offering a safer, more affordable, and reliable alternative to gridlock. The project is also a significant job creator, with hundreds of jobs expected in construction and operations and more to follow in industries that will spring up around the new stations. This isn't just speculation. Private companies are already planning to build their own passenger platforms to get workers to job sites by train. This is a story of reconnection. The railway will stitch the social fabric of Jamaica back together, linking rural communities with urban centers and enhancing access to education, healthcare, and employment for all. No project of this magnitude comes without immense risks. The revival of Jamaica's railway is a high-stakes gamble, and its success is far from guaranteed. Jamaicans have heard promises before, most notably the short-lived revival in 2011 that was shuttered just over a year later, leaving a trail of skepticism. The financial stakes are huge. With a price tag that could climb into the hundreds of millions, this is a major capital investment. Securing and managing this level of funding requires flawless execution. The JRC itself has faced financial challenges, with reports of operational losses on the pilot-student train service, highlighting the critical need for freight services to become profitable quickly. Then there are the political realities. A mega project with a long timeline will inevitably span multiple election cycles. Maintaining the political will and continuity to see the project through is essential. Experts have warned against a piecemeal approach, stressing the need for a comprehensive master plan. There are also immense challenges on the ground. Over the past 30 years, a significant portion of the old railway lines has been encroached upon by informal settlements. Addressing the issue of the thousands of squatters living on JRC-owned land requires a sensitive and legally sound approach to relocation, a complex issue that has been a stumbling block in the past. Finally, the project must also contend with Jamaica's existing road transport industry, which has long been the backbone of public mobility. For decades, bus and taxi operators have not only provided essential services, but also created livelihoods for thousands of families. Many of these operators may view the revival of the railway as direct competition that threatens their income and independence. This makes integration essential. Rather than pushing them aside, policymakers must find ways to bring them into the ecosystem, through partnerships, feeder services, or opportunities to operate within the railway system. If done correctly, this could transform a potential source of tension into a powerful alliance, ensuring that both road and rail work hand in hand to serve the Jamaican people more efficiently. This balancing act is the tightrope Jamaica now walks. The vision of a modern railway is undeniably bold, and the potential rewards are enormous. A well-functioning nationwide system could reduce the country's crippling traffic congestion, stimulate regional trade, and ease pressure on overburdened road networks. Yet the path to achieving this goal is filled with challenges, ranging from securing sustainable financing to overcoming political hurdles and managing public expectations. Every major infrastructure project faces obstacles, but in Jamaica's case, the stakes feel especially high. The gamble is not just about trains. It is about whether the nation can reimagine its future. The story of Jamaica's railway revival is, at its core, the story of a nation daring to dream beyond its limits. It is a bold declaration that today's obstacles, whether traffic bottlenecks in Kingston, rural communities cut off from opportunity, or the widening economic gap between regions, do not have to define tomorrow. This initiative is more than nostalgia for a once thriving railway system. It is a high-stakes investment in creating a connected, prosperous, and sustainable Jamaica that can stand proudly on the global stage. By strategically building a modern transit ecosystem upon the foundations of its pioneering past, Jamaica is creating an engine for national growth. The rumble of trains returning to the tracks would symbolize more than the movement of passengers and goods. It would symbolize progress. It would mean farmers in rural parishes gaining fairer access to markets, students and workers reclaiming hours once lost to gridlock, new industries finding room to grow, and communities across the island reknitting their ties. The road ahead remains long and uncertain. Financing must be secured, stakeholders convinced, and infrastructure carefully delivered. Yet the blueprint exists, and the first steps have already been taken. This isn't only about steel rails and locomotives. It is about laying the foundation for a more resilient, inclusive, and dynamic Jamaica in the 21st century. The world is watching closely, not merely because of the scale of the engineering, but because of the scale of ambition. Jamaica's Railway Rebirth could become a model for small nations with big dreams. So what do you think of this monumental project? Is it the key to unlocking Jamaica's future potential? Or a gamble too great to risk? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you'd like to stay updated on the most ambitious infrastructure projects shaping our world, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching.